If you're wondering why I'm holding a cake, it's because this week it was my birthday. So for this month's Good News Roundup, I thought I'd cut the cake into 10 slices to represent each of the 10 good news stories I've picked for you. Plus there's a few bonus ones in there too. If you're new here, I'm Sam and I make videos highlighting good news and solutions to some of the world's biggest problems. And thanks so much for being here. If it's not your first rodeo with me, thanks for coming back. And if you've been enjoying these good news roundups, tap that like button to help fight the doom and gloom with a bit of positivity. Now for the first slice, here's some good news in November that you might have missed. A scientist from UC Berkeley has developed a new powder that can absorb as much carbon dioxide as a tree with only half a pound of the material. Omar Yagi and his team created COF 999, a material which captures CO2 molecules by binding them within its porous structure, where they remain trapped until released by the application of heat. In trials, the material could be reused for over 100 cycles without losing any efficiency, and Yagi believes it could last thousands more. This innovation could soon support large-scale air capture efforts, addressing the urgent need to remove atmospheric CO2. With additional improvements underway, Yagi says COF 999 could be operational in industrial settings within 2 years. On the subject of fighting carbon emissions, this month it was also announced that greenhouse gas emissions in the European Union fell by 8.3% last year, meaning that net greenhouse gas emissions are now 37% below 1990 levels. Now we head to New Zealand to hear about a creative way they're tackling air pollution. In Queenstown, New Zealand, they're developing a unique answer to solving congestion by looking to the sky. Next year, Kiwi startup Whoosh will begin building a gondola-inspired ride-hailing network as congestion costs in cities soar. In London, for example, the world's third most congested city, drivers spent an average of 99 hours in traffic last year, costing the city £3.8 billion and drivers an extra £900 each. Resembling a ski lift, each cabin moves independently along stationary cables with electric motors, reaching speeds of 26 miles an hour. Whoosh cabins can switch between cables and rails mid-route, providing flexible and faster travel times. The modular system can be retrofitted into cities, starting small and growing over time. If successful, Whoosh could reduce Queenstown's road traffic by 20%, and with cities like Dallas in the US also interested, it could soon transform urban transit across continents. So after hearing about innovations helping clean our air, let's head to France to hear how scientists are helping clean our water. In France, researchers are using super-powered bubbles to tackle forever chemicals. Inside a large tank simulating polluted soil and groundwater, these bubbles are injected to scrub away contaminants and PFAS like a washing machine. The process captures and pushes out pollutants from both soil and water simultaneously. The water is then transferred to a vibrating metal container where microbubbles form and burst at extreme temperatures, effectively breaking down the PFAS molecules. This innovative method has proven capable of degrading these stubborn chemicals entirely. Local authorities, like those in Metz, have been using activated charcoal to filter water, but it only reduces PFAS levels rather than eliminating them. This new bubble technique, however, could be the breakthrough needed. By next year, scientists hope to scale it for use at heavily contaminated sites, potentially offering a much needed solution to finally rid our water of these dangerous pollutants. And it's not just scientists fighting for cleaner water, as our next story from the UK shows. Thousands of people marched through central London demanding urgent action to clean up the UK's rivers and seas. Last year, there were 28,151 sewage discharges into designated bathing areas in the UK, and 0 rivers have a good chemical status. So groups like River Action, Greenpeace, the Wildlife Trust and British Rowing, along with around 15,000 people, joined the March for Clean Water to call for an immediate review of the regulator's Ofwat and the Environment Agency, along with stricter enforcement of existing water pollution laws. Participants wore blue clothing and waved blue flags, forming what organisers called a mass human river. Olympic rower Imogen Grant, who won gold at the Paris Games this year, also spoke out, describing the horrendous decline in river quality, which has caused health issues for athletes like herself who regularly train in polluted waters. Campaigners hope the march will push the government to take action on water quality and prioritise clean, safe rivers for both people and wildlife. If you want to clean up your news feeds and hear about more solutions helping create a better planet, tap that like and subscribe button down below. Now let's hear about some wins for our wildlife, starting with baby ferrets. For the first time in history, a cloned black-footed ferret, a highly endangered species native to North America, has successfully given birth to live offspring. In Virginia, a cloned ferret named Antonia gave birth to 2 healthy kits, Sibber and Red Cloud, marking a new milestone in conservation as it's the first successful live birth from a cloned endangered species. And a bonus good news story, after 54 years and amazing conservation efforts, the red-cockaded woodpecker found in Texas is no longer endangered too. Our next stop is Kenya, where we'll hear how bees may be the solution to helping elephants and humans live in peace. Bees are helping farmers in Kenya keep elephants away from their crops, creating a way for humans and elephants to coexist and avoid conflict. Save the Elephants, a research group working with Kenyan wildlife organisations, has found a way to use beehive fences to protect farms. These unique fences string together live beehives, harnessing elephants' natural fear of bees to deter them from raiding crops. It's a win-win, as farmers can harvest in peace and the bees pollinate crops and produce honey, providing farmers with extra income. With Kenya's expanding population, elephant habitats are shrinking, increasing human-elephant interactions. During a 6-year period, these fences successfully deterred 86% of elephants during peak crop seasons. To date, over 14,000 beehives have been installed across Africa and Asia as elephant deterrents, so let's hope this solution can help elephants and humans live together in harmony. Now let's head to Colombia for our next story. At the UN Biodiversity Summit in Cali, Colombia, delegates made a historic decision to give indigenous groups a formal voice in conservation. A new body will now include indigenous representatives, recognising their traditional knowledge as crucial for protecting ecosystems. Another key issue at the COP16 summit was digital sequence information on genetic resources, essentially who owns nature's DNA. Many vital medicines come from the genetic material of plants and microorganisms, often found in biodiverse regions like rainforests. So an agreement was made that now requires companies to contribute 0.1% of their revenues from products developed using these genetic materials to a new fund, with half going directly to indigenous communities. While some argue that financial pledges at the summit fell short, the inclusion of indigenous voices offers hope for a more equitable and collaborative approach to protecting global biodiversity. Also in Colombia over the last month, 4 indigenous reserves in the Amazon were expanded, covering over 418,000 acres and strengthening both environmental protection and indigenous land rights. And whilst we're talking of the Global South, another big announcement was made there this month. The Global South is shifting to renewables faster than expected and is on track to be a renewable superpower. A new report from RMI reveals that regions like Latin America, Africa and South Asia are adopting clean energy from solar and wind power faster than the global north, with Latin America even outpacing China. The reason for this is that these regions need energy fast, but lack significant fossil fuel reserves. At the same time, they hold 70% of the world's wind and solar resources, so renewables now offer the cheapest and quickest path to energy security. This year in the Global South, 87% of capital expenditures on electricity generation will go into clean energy, and 61% of the Global South has now passed the renewables tipping point, with 17% overtaking the Global North in their solar and wind adoption and electrification rates. And if that wasn't a big enough win for the Global South, forest loss in Brazil's Amazon also dropped by 30.6% compared to the previous year, the lowest level of destruction in 9 years. And Brazil also renewed its plan to restore degraded land half the size of the UK. Before we get onto our last couple of stories, I just want to say a big thank you to you for watching and supporting these videos, and to my awesome Patreon community for helping me produce them too. And they also meant I didn't have to put ads on this video, which was nice. And for the cost of a very average birthday cake each month, you can help me produce more of these videos and get credited in them too. Now let's head to the US to hear about some wins for the climate that seemed to get drowned out by the election. California passed a $10 billion climate bond that helped prevent devastating wildfires, remove toxic pollutants to create clean drinking water, and protect its communities and natural areas from climate risks. In Louisiana, money the state receives from oil, gas and renewable energy production will now be directed into a coastal protection fund that will help protect the state from hurricanes. Washington defeated an attempt to roll back the state's landmark Climate Commitment Act thanks to 600 coalition partners, the Nature Conservancy, and tribal nations across Washington state. Maine voters approved $30 million to upgrade and expand trails across the state, connecting more communities to Maine's stunning outdoors. Minnesota renewed the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, meaning conservation projects will remain constitutionally protected for another 25 years, ensuring $80 million a year goes to protecting the state's water, land and wildlife. And Rhode Island passed the Green Bond, which will provide $53 million for habitat restoration, making the state's coast more resilient and preserving its farmland. I got one last bonus good news story for you. The world's largest coral was also found this month by scientists in the southwest Pacific Ocean. It could be more than 300 years old and is bigger than a blue whale, the team say. We're on to the last good news slice, and it's something that should be happening at hospitals all around the world. Boston Medical Center is transforming hospital food by growing it right on the rooftop, expanding fresh produce access for both patients and underserved communities. The newly opened Newmarket Farm, a 5,000 square foot rooftop garden, joins an existing one already supplying vegetables for the hospital cafeteria, and it will triple the hospital's crop yield. The garden's harvest will be distributed to local non-profits twice a week, addressing food insecurity across Boston. But these gardens do more than just provide food. They make Boston Medical Center, one of the greenest hospitals in the US, even more sustainable by reducing heat-absorbing pavement and capturing rainwater to help manage storms. And their commitment to health extends beyond the rooftop. Its Food is Medicine program partners with local grocers to label foods by health benefits. With labels in multiple languages, this initiative helps Boston's diverse communities make healthier choices, reinforcing BMC's dedication to food as a key part of healing. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't tapped that like button already, please give it a tap if you've enjoyed this video and share it to a friend who may need to hear some good news. And now I've got to find at least 5 friends to share this cake with. I'll see you the same time, same place next month, my friend. Bye!